So the reason we joined the PHTA building was because of the whole kind of healthcare acceleration process. I think COVID made a real difference there, and there's been much more kind of emphasis on people being healthy rather than taking specific kind of drugs to focus on fixing problems. I think Boris Johnson said that we're the unhealthiest nation in Europe, and that's part of the process. We're a holistic approach to this, and I wanted to ask you how you feel that the precision healthcare technology accelerator will actually advance that kind of personalized, holistic approach.
And it's a really good point that you mentioned about the pandemic and COVID. Because what did that teach us? What it taught us, a number of different things. One is, if we collaborate together, we can actually fast track and accelerate development of medicines. Also, I'm the son of a tailor, and we go to Marks and Spencers or Slater's or whatever it is you want to do, and you take things off the shelf. And actually, we now realise, don't we, that with all different shapes and sizes. In fact, I've just seen that now. I couldn't get a lab coat that fitted me. Is that we're all different, and one size fits all does not exist. And if you look at how drug development has been made in the last 20, 30 years, pharma companies were looking for the average. So if you had a new drug, which is like a tablet, for example, they never made more than 4 strengths. And that was for the whole world, if you think about it. Roughly on average, that's what you used to do. Let's go to Japan and China, and then they have to half the doses in many cases. But the reality is that's what they did. We now see a litany of failed clinical studies where if they stratified the patient population and segmented them to those who respond and don't respond, clearly they saw effects. So, for example, cancer is a good example where you look at some of the studies retrospectively, you realise that some patients did respond and others didn't. In fact, they cancelled each other out, and so overall it didn't work, but actually we look at it, it did work. So we now know, don't we, that for the right patient population with the right drug, you will get a response.
Yeah.
And personalised medicine or precision medicine, no matter how you want to call it, it was the right drug, the right dose, the right time, the right cost, all that kind of good stuff. I actually don't think that's the right definition. The definition is the right therapy for the right patient.
Interesting.
And that therapy could be a technology, or it could be a medicine. I think that's what we're looking to do. I've weighted diagnostic control, and I'll explain more about what that means in a second. But what that means to me is, for example, I've got my mobile phone here, and I know that'll measure my steps, and I would try and do 10,000 steps a day. Because that is a form of precision medicine or precision technology. It's helping me understand what I need to do. What COVID showed was that we are prepared to take a diagnostic test, a swab, to see whether we're positive or negative. In the UK, and in fact in most countries around the world, we have what we call a reactive, casualty-based medicine. You get sick, you're going to get treatment. We need to move more towards preventative, doing a diagnostic, checking your blood sugars, your cholesterols, and then actually saying to yourself, actually, I'm high risk for diabetes, let's take some care. Lose a bit of weight, swim in the mornings, go for a walk, that kind of good stuff. And that's something I thought COVID really did. We took responsibility. We in most cases, to check that we were well, that we weren't infected, so not passing on the virus. And I do worry that since then we've kind of lost that way, because to me, we had millions of people kind of indoctrinated to say, actually, let's just test ourselves and make sure we're well able to go outside. And that's where we need to move to, because healthcare systems around the world can't cope with people getting sick and going straight to the hospital in most cases, or to a GP and get sicker. So if we prescribe that technology, this diagnostic approach to diabetes, to infections in general, to cholesterol, to blood pressure, I think we go a long way.
That's really interesting, because one of the things that we want to do at Lumir, and one of the reasons we really wanted to be at the PHTA building, was we have what we're describing as the Lumir life effects, which is everybody's got an endocannabinoid system, but it's how you work that nutrition, giving it the right food because you need the right amino acids to create the endocannabinoids. Then looking at social interactions because that's one of the most important things. We base it on the NHS 5 effects to life. And we absolutely believe that medical cannabis is not a solution in itself, it's part of a solution to a problem, which may well be lifestyle change as much as anything else, because illness is a very interesting thing. It comes from all kinds of different angles and everybody's pain. And that's why actually working out how effective medical cannabis is in a randomized controlled trial is so difficult. That's why we go for observational trials. Do you think observational trials have the same validity as RCTs?
Well, I think RCT is the gold standard. I mean, I have to default for that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the way it is. I think if you're going to do an observational study, you're going to have to do it in a proper controlled manner. But RCTs are recognised as the gold standard, so that's effectively where we are. What intrigued me about working with Cannim yourselves in the PHTA is you're trying to find a use for medicinal cannabis
Yeah.
for post-traumatic stress disorder. Can you talk more about what you're doing?
Sure. So we've got a couple of studies moving forward. We have what's called the Lumir mission, and let me explain why we call it Lumir. It's named after Professor Lumir Hannes, the man who discovered anandamide. He's our kind of mentor, and we're all about the approach to science. And what Lumir Clinic wants to do is actually look at the science behind the endocannabinoid system and how phytocannabinoids interact with the endocannabinoid system. Your body actually produces endocannabinoids, anandamide being one, 2-AG being another. So for us, it's precision healthcare and interacting with professionals at the PHTA body to kind of overcome that confirmation of bias that a lot of clinicians have, a lot of researchers have to cannabis because of its reputation, but also asking questions of how we do research and how we move forward. And I hear what you say about RCTs, but it's a uniquely individual fingerprint, the endocannabinoid system, to everybody. So it's a very much a personalized medicine moving forward, which I think again COVID kind of illustrated that sometimes RCTs don't uncover the real story behind things, and that's why we're in combination looking at observational trials and then focusing in on the RCTs to make them more effective.
Oh, I see. So what you're hoping to achieve is start off with observational and convert over to an RCT.
Yes.
Well, that obviously has some. It sounds very an interesting approach and one that's extremely valuable.
Well, it's PTSD is one. Our medical director is Professor Anoop Matthew, who is a military reservist. And his focus is in on PTSD and how to alleviate those symptoms because he's seen firsthand the damage done to veterans. But we're also looking at borderline personality disorder, which is another area of interest for Anoop, because there is no standardized treatment for that moving forward. And he's found prescribing medical cannabis to be highly effective for it. So it's a combination. It's doing the research, but actually medical cannabis is prescribable now for a variety of different conditions. Unfortunately, it's still private medicine. That's part of our remit to actually start to gather the data with your help moving forward at the PHTA to actually gather the evidence to convince NICE that it's cost effective. And that's their major concern, the cost effective value.
And of course, you have come to the right region. So not many people know this, but Birmingham is, or the West Midlands, one of the second largest regions in the United Kingdom, having populations about the size of Scotland, if not more. We have the split is about 40% ethnicity, 40% of the population is below the age of 16. It's a fantastic opportunity to do clinical trials across a varied spectrum. We have one of the large hospitals here, the Queen Elizabeth Birmingham, literally just across the road from where we're having this conversation, serves about 1 million patients a year. We have some of the best clinicians. huge number of universities. Obviously, you got University of Birmingham, you have Birmingham City University, you got Aston University, you got UCB. You know, it's got loads of clinicians, loads of academics, and you know, we feel we have the right resources here, and also we have the military interest in Birmingham as well. That, you know, ultimately we're there to support you and to find the answers you're looking for. The idea is that by having the access to the clinicians here, you can build a degree of trust, a collaborative spirit, undertake studies in a way that is controlled, you know, with a proper research hypothesis, and hopefully you get the data you need to say, actually, we've got the evidence we need to go for this indication. And that's what we're trying to do with the PHTA. We're creating a vibrant, hybrid, diverse environment that allows companies like yourselves who are exploring these questions, let's face it, have been raised, particularly with medicinal cannabis, for many, many years, and try and get the answers you want, but in a very controlled, trusting, sharing environment and a collaborative environment. I think that's what we're hoping to achieve, and that's the aim of the PHTA. For me, like I said, the right therapy for the right patient, that's what I'm looking for. That to me is true precision. And like I said to you, it could be a medicine, it could be an app, it could be a medical device. We're just trying to give people informed decision making. I think is really key. And to get informed decision making, you need to have the right evidence.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
And that's why, firstly, I'd like to thank you for accepting us into the PHTA building. And also, I'm really looking forward to the synergy that we create, because I think it's going to be some spectacular work we're going to do together.
The whole point, the University of Birmingham, so the PHTA is a subsidiary of the university. The whole point of getting some of my background, pharmacist, healthcare professional, is that it's not about selling space, it's about creating a vibrant life sciences ecosystem. Our job is to help you find the answers you're looking for. You know, and you know, Cannim, when you approach this medicinal cannabis, look, I have an open mind. I'm there to help you. You know, we're there to try and get you the answers you want. Hopefully the right answers you want, but ultimately it's that science. But the point is, there's no good shutting a door. You need to open the door and help and support companies such as yourself to find the answers you want, to hopefully develop really innovative therapies for patients that who are suffering as we speak. That's really important. I used to work in an organisation where we often used to say focus on the patient, and actually that's what we're trying to do. But to do that, we need to sometimes help the guys such as yourself, you know, to really to fit in and get the access to the clinicians, the academics you need to generate the evidence that you need to be able to convince people actually this is the right thing to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.